I'm JP Tuesday.
And I'm Kiki Cannon. As lifelong Disney fans, the work of countless talented Disney creatives have shaped our lives.
Now, as the Disney catalog expands, we're taking a journey through film and television to discover if that spark that shaped us as children lives on in adulthood.
Does your favorite Disney media still cast that same spell? Join us as we find out. We are Rewatching the Magic.
Hi, Kiki.
Hi, Tuesday.
Oh, this is a week filled with news. So much news happening in the last week. This one kind of fell through the cracks, and it's such a big news story that it kind of deserves its own segment separate from our main features, because there's a lot to talk about with this one. Disney has announced they are raising the prices on all of their streaming services. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. The Disney Plus price hike goes into effect on December 8th in the United States. It will be going up from the current price of $7.99 a month to $10.99 a month. However, they are also adding an ad-supported $7.99 tier. This is Netflix all over again with their thing. Disney will also be raising the prices of Hulu. The ad-free tier will be jumping from $12.99 to $14.99. And the ad-supported tier will be going up from $6.99 to $7.99 a month. And that will go into effect October 10th. ESPN price hike was announced back in July. It will be going up from $6.99 to $7.99 a month. I believe the UFC pay-per-views that the ESPN is hosting is also going to go up in price. The Disney bundle that Disney really pushes very hard will also get some changes. There, we have our with ads basic Disney bundle, which will just be Disney Plus and Hulu, will be $9.99 a month. The Disney, Hulu, ESPN with ads Disney bundle will be $12.99 a month. Disney Plus, Hulu with ads, ESPN, the with ads, Legacy, anyone who was already on the Disney bundle will be going to $14.99 a month. And any new people joining the Disney bundle, Disney Plus with no ads, Hulu with no ads, ESPN Plus, $19.99 a month. And this is just weeks after, as I said, weeks after Netflix had announced that they will also be doing a lower priced ad-supported tier. I thought we went into streaming to avoid all of this, but now it's coming to pass again. Might as well go back to cable.
The thing is, though, is that, again, it's the greed factor. We talked about it before, is that there is enough pie to go around as long as you're willing to have a piece of the pie. The problem is that none of these corporations are willing to just have a piece of the pie. They want the entire pie. And it's not possible, you know? The thing about Netflix when it started, the reason why Netflix was so successful was the place that had all the movies.
Yeah, every studio was working with Netflix. You would have monthly rotations of movies, and it would be from every studio.
Well, I mean, when Netflix first started, it was you'd get DVDs by mail. Mm-hmm. Remember those days, kids? If you don't, you're probably too young to be listening to our show. But that was the thing. It was, Blockbuster, but, by mail. And you didn't have to worry about what was in stock at the time. You just put it on your queue, and then you got what was in stock. They sent it to you, and you went, oh, what's in the mailbox today? Oh, good. I guess we're watching this tonight. I will admit that when that occurred, I'm pretty sure my fiance and I were why Netflix put the you can only have so many DVDs in a certain time limit. Mm-hmm. Because that was all we did. It was just, oh, DVDs came in the mail today. We will watch them and immediately put them back in the mail. That's all we did. I mean, every day was just more DVDs came in and more DVDs went out. That was all we did. So eventually it was like, no, you can only have this many DVDs. You are costing us too much. It was great because it was like, wow, this is the cheapest, fastest, easiest way to get all of these movies, because the internet was not capable of streaming yet. It wasn't fast enough. We didn't have the encoding technology yet. That was not even, YouTube at that point.
And it was easier than just going down to Blockbuster and seeing what they had.
Well, easier and cheaper. I mean,
yeah.
The
old days.
Yeah, the old days. But the thing is that, like you said, they worked with every company. And when they went to streaming, it was the same thing. They had, they would rotate out some movies, and it would be kind of like the old Disney Vault idea, watch it before it goes back into the vault. But it was still a better system because it was, everything in one place. And that was the idea of streaming. Is like one or two streaming sites, and they kind of fought for everything.
And that was also the thing that brought Hulu around when streaming was a thing, was now you can watch all of your shows the next day streaming. Back in the day when Hulu was free.
Well, yeah. Well, it was free with ads, so it was ad supported, but yeah, it wasn't a subscription service, and that was fine. But the idea was, and that was the idea of kind of cable at first, was that the cable channels did not have ads. A lot of people don't remember that, is that the cable channels initially did not have ads because you were paying for them. Why would you pay for something and then watch ads on it? Mm-hmm. And so the idea of, you're paying for it and also you have to watch ads is still, to me, who remembers those days of you pay for it or you watch it with ads, is so still antithetical to my idea of how things work. This is why, for a long time there, the idea of torrenting went down. I don't know if people understand that. Is for a while, torrenting went sky high. Right before the cable bust and the golden age of streaming, is torrenting was really high because it was very difficult to get things. And then streaming became very easy. It was relatively cheap and it was relatively easy. The streaming sites were fairly stable and user-friendly, and they had what you wanted, and everything was kind of consolidated in one place. And then all of the studios kind of started fragmenting and like, no, I want my own service. No, I want my own service. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but the people who track these things say that traffic on the torrenting sites has recently gone through the roof again.
Because you've got your Netflix, you got your Disney Plus, your Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Peacock.
The Discovery Plus, which is
Yeah.
about to go through with the HBO Max, that's a whole nother. We could start a podcast on what a clusterfork that is, but that's a whole thing. And then I mean, Disney alone owns the Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. I mean, that's 3 streaming services minimum that Disney alone owns. And that's all the same company.
Yeah.
That they're running. And, I mean, HBO, the Warner Brothers, conglomerate, the Discovery Warner Brothers owns the HBO Max and Discovery Plus, which they're going to bundle together now, maybe, possibly in the next year to conglomerate. We keep hearing that maybe Disney Plus and Hulu will be bundled together at some point in America.
Well, like I said, you can get, at least starting in October, you can get them both.
No, I mean as in one site.
Ah.
As in I keep hearing rumors that they may not make Hulu a thing anymore. That Hulu as a site will just go away.
Oh.
And it will all just be Disney Plus, and that all the shows that were being produced under Hulu, it will be like when 20th Century Fox just became 20th Studios or whatever.
I mean, a lot of Hulu original programming has slowly but surely migrated to Disney Plus, such as Love, Victor, and recently The Orville.
Yeah, The Orville is now just on Disney Plus now, as well as Hulu. And I wonder if that's not a first stepping stone, because Orville is, no pun intended, a flagship right now for Hulu. Mm-hmm. That 3rd season got incredibly good response from critics, and it seems the ratings are doing very good. The fans loved it. And right now they're having a lot of prestige shows and movies coming out on Hulu.
Prey just came out on Hulu, yeah. Getting a rave reviews itself.
Yeah, and so now that they're starting to move over some things like the Marvel shows from Netflix, and I think they've moved Runaways over on Disney Plus now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Which was originally a Hulu show. Mm-hmm. And so they're starting to move things to Disney Plus to make it easier to find some things. And I think that might be a stealth rollout of that idea. That for a while they're keeping some things on Hulu and Disney Plus to make it easier for people to find it. But I think it might be a stealth rollout of that idea as a trial balloon to see if people are okay with the idea of like, oh, we can just find those shows on Disney Plus now. Because I mean, Disney as a corporation is going to get the money whether or not you pay for Hulu or Disney Plus or the bundle. It's all being funneled back to the same corporation. So at this point, it's just brand recognition for them.
I mean, Hulu's been around for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the name, so it really is just more the, prestige, and you can make a URL redirect wherever you want it. So it
might be a situation like they do in Disney with Disney Plus in other countries, because they don't have Hulu, they have Star. So it could just be a situation where you're on Disney Plus, you go to a tab that says Hulu, and then it takes you to Hulu.
Yeah, all the old shows that were under the Hulu brand or whatever. So I do wonder if we're going to eventually end up where it's just everything is under, Disney streaming service.
Although with as much sports stuff that ESPN gets, it would probably be smart for Disney to keep those separate, and then people who watch the Disney stuff and then the ESPN sports stuff, you now have the double the money from both of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I mean, I'm personally for that because honestly, I I don't care. Please keep your sports away from my entertainment. Uh the only time I kind of want those two together is when I'm watching professional wrestling. That's kind of the one time I'm okay with those two things mixing.
And I mean now it also you're also possibly getting live stuff because we've kind of mentioned it in passing, but Disney is starting to roll out live streaming on their service, especially upcoming with Dancing with the Stars will be streaming live on Disney Plus in the fall.
Yeah, there might be a rant from me about that in an upcoming episode. I mean, we're going to see how that is because I am a regular viewer of Dancing with the Stars. I've seen every season. So we'll see how that works out. Right now the fan base is not with it. That is, if you follow kind of what people are saying on social media about that change, the fans are not liking it.
Also, I'm wondering how they're going to handle that with the. I mean, obviously, if you're on the ad tier, then that's like you can just show the commercials on Disney Plus. But what about people on the ad-free tier? Are there going to be special things just for that on the streaming on the streaming version of the episode?
That is an interesting thing because I wonder if they're just going to do now a commercial break and the people on the ad tier will see a commercial and the people on the ad free tier will see maybe a behind the scenes something.
A bonus interview, maybe?
Yeah, a bonus interview or a backstage camera of, people practicing or,
Best of clips.
judges talking or something. But it will be kind of fascinating to see how they handle that. They say they've got the voting figured out. I don't know because I mean that is when they do stuff like that in say like the UK where they're only dealing with like one or two time zones, it's very easy to do things like that and everybody can vote at once. But when you're doing it in America where you've got, 4 to 5 time zones that you're dealing with, then how do you that's why live shows in America are always like, well, we'll have the results tomorrow night on our results show.
Will the results show still exist?
They haven't said.
Yeah. We
really don't know. They haven't said what that is yet. We don't really know a lot about it. But the interesting thing is that currently Disney is winning the streaming wars. As far as, Netflix had been the reigning king of that. And
Netflix is dropping like a rock currently, unfortunately.
Yeah, Netflix has been hemorrhaging customers lately. And in July, I think it was announced that at the end of July, when, whoever keeps track of these things, it seems that Disney over all of its platforms has now topped Netflix as far as kind of the Disney bundle idea. If you count all three of those together, Disney as a corporation now has more streaming subscribers than Netflix does as a corporation.
And a lot of that, at least on Netflix's part, has been a combination of several price hikes, several fan favorite shows being canceled, and the newer Netflix originals haven't been getting the wide praise as previous Netflix originals have. So it's a dangerous combination.
Yeah, I mean, the awards season buzz of the Netflix shows, they haven't been, doing as well. Meanwhile, some of the Disney Plus shows have been, and movies as well, and especially Hulu. Hulu has really overtaken in the streaming TV, I guess we'll call it, front. A lot of their series have really made an impact in that kind of prestige drama sort of way. Mm. And Netflix had been doing quite well in that front as far as critically acclaimed dramas and stuff like that. But recently they've kind of canceled. I mean, Netflix has just had a big hit with Sandman. Mm-hmm. But
that's still Warner Brothers though. So Warner Brothers, and considering we had the big regime change in Warner Brothers with Discovery coming in, would Discovery and Warner want to continue that contract?
That remains to be seen. There has been no news on whether or not they're going to do that. I mean, me, I've been following that very closely.
I mean, just for the people who may not know, Sandman is a DC character.
Yeah,
they did have to change a few things for the series, like removing pretty much every DC character that appeared in Sandman, except for a few that they could get away with.
There were some changes. There were some negotiations they had to do because of things being sold to other studios and
movie
under
rights,
contract with other things and character likeness rights to other things, but that I think is kind of a constant negotiation moving forward as they move, and so many of the things that are in Sandman are smaller characters that have never been in other properties yet and stuff. So I think that it might work out moving forward that you'll see some more DC characters in there. We'll see. Different company, different things, but yeah. The interesting thing though is that it's going to be fascinating moving forward as the streaming fight goes on, because we always say we don't stand a corporation, and this is becoming not so great for media in general, because we do the jokes on the show about eventually our podcast will cover everything, because eventually Disney will own everything. And it is a joke, but it's a joke that we're very aware of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even with all of the stuff between that Discovery Warner has been doing, I've been hearing a lot of sell blank to Disney. And like, you really want that? You really want that? Because I make that as a joke. I don't want that.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It's very easy to joke about these things, about Disney has Kingdom Hearts, and it's all the characters together in one big video game, and now Warner Brothers is doing this multiverses thing where it's like all the characters in one big thing. And it's like, is that really what you want? It's like, that's fun in a fanfic, but you don't really want that to be like a thing, right?
I mean, Smash Brothers is another one of those, but that has started the everyone's here mindset. I don't really want an everyone's here thing all the time, and I don't want one company to own everything, especially in a situation where corporations are viewing art forms purely as content and nothing more.
Yeah, and I think that's what, we're sort of lucky right now with Disney. But it's because we're very lucky right now with Disney. We're lucky in that the people currently, and I do mean currently, with Disney, and it could change at any second. And it could be what's happening over at Discovery Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. Because everybody looking at what's going on over with the other guys, where you just had somebody step into the chair and go like, we got Superman, and that's for boys, and we got Friends, I guess, and that's for girls, and put this in a blue box and that in a pink box, and like, I don't really know what's going on, just hand me money. And like, we're really lucky right now with Disney that, like, say what you want about Chapek, and we have, and say what you wanted before about Eisner, and we did, and all that kind of
Iger
stuff,
and all, yeah,
and Iger, and all of the other people. Okay, everybody's got their pluses and minuses.
Yeah,
but right now, if you go to the people in charge of various departments, you go to somebody like Feige, he knows what he's got. He knows who the characters are. He knows who the fans are. And you can level allegations at him for like, well, they didn't do exactly what I wanted with this particular character or whatever. But at least he knows who Moon Knight is.
Same thing on, same thing in the Star Wars thing with Filoni.
Yeah, I mean, at least Filoni like knows a lightsaber from an X-Wing, at least he knows what the property is he's dealing with, Mm-hmm. Chapek, say what you want about how he ran the parks, he at least had visited the parks. These people at least knew what their business was, mm-hmm. And it's like, these aren't just the money people. They at least know a little something about their business. We are seeing right now over at Discovery Warner Brothers what happens when just a money guy gets put in charge of something creative. And it is a train wreck. Disney has gotten lucky at this point. I'm not saying that there's not drawbacks sometimes. I'm not saying that there's not things that could be handled better, because there always is in a business. Always. Nothing is flawless. But things could be worse. Let's just say that. Yeah. And they could be worse tomorrow. I mean, nothing is ever certain. Regimes change in business all the time. A stock price could drop, and investors could go, we want a new guy in the chair or whatever. And tomorrow, it could be the exact same situation at Disney. Mm-hmm. And all of the stuff we love could be in the same sort of danger. And that's the problem with one corporation owning everything. And when it's just one or two corporations and they own everything between them, that's the problem. Because it only takes like two bad apples being in charge of two corporations and everything is crap. And it's terrifying to look at it. I mean, one guy who doesn't know what he's doing gets in charge of one corporation, and suddenly, like, 18 fandoms that I'm in right now are going, oh my god, did we just lose everything?
I mean, Chapek could wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? Such and such show isn't making the numbers we want. Get rid of it. Just take it off the service. This movie isn't making the numbers we want. Just take it off. Or cancel the show, or this, that, and the other. And that, which is what we've seen at Warner Discovery. But it hasn't gotten to that point yet at Disney, at least.
Yeah, and it's just weird for one person to have that much power over that much creative potential.
Yeah.
Over that much art. Over, it's like, just
say what you will. Whether you were looking forward to the Batgirl movie or this Scoob sequel or whatever, people worked on it. Actors performed in it. Soundtracks were made for it. People worked on this movie, put their blood, sweat, and tears into these projects, and now no one will ever see it because one guy did not understand the demographics of its service.
Or maybe he just wanted a tax write-off. We have no idea what happened there. That's the weirdest thing.
Apparently, HBO Max was millions of dollars in the hole, and they had to make up that money somehow.
Yeah, and those are the things that got axed because of one guy. And the thing is that it could happen at Disney for the weirdest reason. Because it could happen at any corporation. We're using Disney because that's what we talk about on our show. Mm-hmm. But the larger point is that as these things consolidate, this could happen because one or two people have a bad day or have a fight or mm-hmm. wake up on the wrong side of the bed or something. Like we want to think of these things as like, well, that's stable and that's, that makes them too much money. It's like, look at what just happened. They were like $90 million of investment in that, but to a corporation that's worth multi-billions, that is nothing. To us, that is unfathomable amounts of money. To them, that is a decimal point.
It's dropping the bucket. They lose that in the couch.
Yeah, and so it's like, we woke up today as we're recording this, and I don't even know if you've seen it because it's such a bizarre little point to that. They just sold the CW.
They've been trying to do that for a bit. I did not know who they were going to sell it to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, you would think that would be major news because it's like a whole TV network. And
yeah,
like to them, it's like, well, that's what we did before breakfast, because it's people in our position can't even imagine that. Mm-hmm. But when you have corporations that are that consolidated, these mega corporations, it's such a tiny piece that it's barely worth mentioning. And it used to be when we were kids that like an entire television network changing hands would be news for days.
I mean, when the CW was created, it was created in the shadows of two networks merging. The old UPN network and the WB, if you remember those two networks.
Yeah. And that was, I mean, two corporations now that have nothing to do with each other,
Yeah.
But it is fascinating to think that that's like a blip you might miss on Twitter. It's like, oh, I was scrolling Twitter today and it was like, oh, they sold the CW. Yawn. It's like, but yeah, so, understand what the consolidation of these corporations and these streaming services mean. The other thing that people are noticing is that as we move to all streaming and all digital, people who are media librarians and who save media for posterity are discovering that we're losing bits of media because nothing is in physical form anymore. And as we talk about like, oh, well, they're putting it in the vault and, it will move, cycle off the service for now and it'll come back later. Sometimes things just don't come back.
I mean, physical media in general, unfortunately, is a dying medium. Not a lot of people are buying DVDs or Blu-rays. Very few people are buying physical albums anymore. They'll just either buy it digitally or stream the album either on YouTube or Spotify or something, or Apple Music.
And the problem is that a lot of things in licensing agreements now are like, oh, well, we can just wipe it off your hard drive whenever you want because you don't actually own the copy you buy. It's just kind of like a semi-permanent license agreement. And due to that, you can never quite be sure that a company won't just like reach into your computer and just wipe your media library at some point. And with people not buying DVDs or CDs or, vinyl or whatever, media librarians are discovering that there are movies that are not even that old, or TV shows or whatever, that they're discovering that nobody has copies of anymore. Even pirated episodes, they're discovering because, a torrent link has gone dead or something, and now nobody is seeding it and nobody seems to own a copy, and people are desperately trying to figure out a way to catalog and preserve things just to say like, hey, this existed. Maybe not because it's like the greatest thing ever and it needs to be in the Library of Congress or whatever, but just because like this was made by people and it deserves to just exist. And we have so much from the early days of cinema that was lost because it was kept on flammable material, just because that was the early celluloid and stuff, and they didn't know how to preserve it any other way. And now we're losing it because of, strange copyright law and the greed of corporations and stuff. So, maybe start buying more DVDs and CDs and stuff. Not only will more of your money go to the artists who made it, but you might end up being like the one person who has a copy of a movie that you really, really love one day when some librarian is going like, hey, this seems to be a lost movie now, and you can be like the one person that goes, oh no, I actually bought a DVD of that once. So who knows?
So I guess to wrap this up and get back to our original topic, what would you do in this situation? What are you planning on doing in this situation? Are you going to go with the upcharge and stay with the ad-free tier of Disney Plus, or are you going to go with the ad-supported Disney Plus?
Well, in our household, we actually split. One of us pays for Hulu and one of us pays for Disney Plus. I pay for the Disney Plus, so I'll probably end up just going for the no ads Disney Plus, because there is nothing I hate more than ads. I'll probably go for the upcharge.
I probably will as well. Similar situation in with me. I just had a discussion with a family member that they are going to be paying for Netflix from this point forward. Even with the price hikes, they still like what's on Netflix, and more power to them. And I'll just be paying for Disney Plus.
The person in the house who pays for Hulu, they have always done the ad-supported Hulu, which annoys me, but again, I don't pay for it, so their choice. And so they'll probably just continue paying for the ad-supported Hulu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's everything we have to say about this price hike and everything that's going around it. Next full episode will be the Jungle Cruise with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt. So do come back for that, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.
Bye. If you want to help the fight for human rights in the U.S., the American Civil Liberties Union works to protect constitutional rights for all Americans. Their website is aclu.org. If you need reproductive services in the U.S. or wish to donate to those who do, go to abortionfunds.org for more info. The battle isn't over until the last person surrenders. The fight continues. Don't let the magic stop here.
Join our conversation online on Facebook at Rewatching the Magic,
Twitter at Rewatch the Magic,
and of course, new episodes every week at rewatchingthemagic.podbean.com.
Remember, the magic is for everyone.
It only stops if you let it.